Personality and foreign languages. Hi, this is Ilaria from ilazed.com and welcome to the episode number 59 of my podcast Italian Language in English. In today's episode, I am going to talk about how our personality can affect our ability to speak a foreign language. Are you ready? Let's get started. Have you ever thought that the ability to learn foreign languages can be influenced by personality? Have you ever met people who, without much effort, begin to speak languages that are not their own? I decided to write this article as a result of observing my students struggling with Italian. In it, however, I will not focus on the most frequent errors or techniques for improving a language, but only on personality and how much it can affect speaking ability. There is no point in denying it. In the Western world, strong, independent personalities who are not afraid to take on new challenges have an advantage. And although I am sorry to admit it, the same principles apply to speaking ability. Speaking a foreign language benefits from being loose and uninhibited, from not being afraid to jump in a conversation or make mistakes. Personality, the two extremes. If I were to describe my students to you, I would tell you to imagine a straight line, at the ends of which are people with clearly recognizable characteristics. The reserved ones, people who are shyer but also more precise, who need encouragement and reassurance, and who want to master as many rules of grammar as possible before speaking. The talkative ones, boisterous people who burst with energy from every pore, who are eager to talk from the very first lesson. Often, however, it is necessary to contain and restrain them, giving them the right directions and corrections. As we move away from these extremities, the characteristics becomes less and less defined. And it is increasingly difficult to be able to find such distinctive traits. I know it is pointless to point this out, but if the purpose of language learners is to communicate, the second group, the talkative ones, will have an advantage even if their first sentences are not error-free. But what does all this mean? Does it mean that it is impossible for less spontaneous and more reserved people to learn a foreign language? Absolutely not. I am just saying that the reaction times between the two groups are different. The more taciturn students can be compared to cars that need more time to get started. They, in fact, study all the grammar rules, acquire a great deal of vocabulary, do exercises, and read a lot, until they reach the point where they can put together everything they have learned and finally speak. And they often do it even better than talkers. Personality influences our ability to speak. Surely you have noticed that in this episode I have not talked about how much personality affects language learning. Because if you study and try hard, everyone, and I repeat, everyone, gets results. Instead, here I focus on communication and the time it takes for students to speak. To recap, Those who are more talkative, exuberant, and extemporaneous will speak almost immediately, resorting to trial and error learning that will eventually lead them to learn the language on the field, that is, by speaking it from the start. The more taciturn will also master the language by following a different path and timeline, storing as much information as possible before they are ready to speak. Conclusion. Whether you are part of one extreme or the other, don't worry. Virtually anyone can learn a new language. In fact, if you're passionate and apply yourself, whether your character, the results will come. Be wary, however, of those who claim that in order to learn a language, you have to be gifted. This is absolutely not the case. In fact, as I have written before, there is no talent or miraculous recipes that magically make us understand everything and speak fluently. But the things we really need to succeed are time, perseverance, and motivation. If you need other explanation about the Italian language and culture, take a look at my website, ilazed.com.